And good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Comic Corner here on the Agents of Phantom Network, here on Facebook, YouTube, and The Bad Place. My name is Damon. I'm your host. What we do here is comic book news, reviews, and interviews. We just had a pretty cool interview with you, TJ. Tell me all about it. Good morning, by the way.
Good morning, my friend. And oh, dude, I'm still pinching myself over here. I got to the amazing opportunity to interview one of our favorite people, friend of the show, Sean Von Gorman, artist of The Pedestrian, and also MC from Boston, Esoteric, who is part of the group called Czarface, along with Inspector Deck from the Wu-Tang Clan. And I think I'm like the biggest Czarface fan probably out there. Like, I love them. I am just such a big fan of them. So when this opportunity came up, they're writing a book all about Cool Keith, another hip hop artist who's a legend. It was awesome. It felt like the stars aligned for me, bringing together the two things I love, hip hop and comic books. And it was awesome. So yeah, go check that out if you want to hear about, hip hop comics, how they merge, all about Cool Keith. We like nerd out just about him pretty much the whole time. And the book is awesome. Even if you don't know who Cool Keith is, if you don't know who Czarface is, it's just filled with like old school comic silly madness. Like there's a half gator, half shark, half man person. There's
A man bear
different
pig?
dimensions. If anyone does know, so Czarface is like also a character, like a comic book villain. So Czarface makes an appearance. It's great. So yeah, go check it out.
Nice. Shout out Z2. They put out some really cool things with a lot of amazing artists and bands. That's kind of their thing is they partner up with musicians, bands, and bring their creative worlds into a different creative world. It's a lot of cool stuff. It's a lot of fun. Go check out that interview. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about this week because we have a lot of comics to talk about. A lot of comics to talk about. Heavy week for both of us. I I had 10 comics on my list this week. This was nuts. I couldn't fit all of them, obviously, in this show. Unfortunately, as much as I'd love to talk about all of them, I couldn't fit all of them, but we'll talk about as many as we can. First and foremost, it's Ultimate Spider-Man week. We will get into that. It's a race to the finish line. TJ, you read that issue. I know you did because you asked me a question about it, and we will
Yeah.
get into it. The definitive Wonder Woman. Is Absolute Wonder Woman becoming the definitive Wonder Woman? I don't know. In my opinion, it may be. And Martian Vision to the next level at the end of its first volume. We recap, we review, we break down, we give our full thoughts on Absolute Martian Manhunter. The first volume has concluded. But first, let's get into what has been my favorite comic, my favorite superhero comic, I should say, on the shelves over the past year in change, almost 2 years at this point. This is Ultimate Spider-Man number 20. This is written by Jonathan Hickman, artist David Messina, colorist Matt Wilson, letterer Corey Pettit, and editors Michelle Marchese and Will Moss. I will admit, I put a bit of a clickbaity title on this video, TJ. If you didn't see, I said, "Is Ultimate Spider-Man losing its footing?" In my opinion, I don't think so. But in the opinion of others, maybe so, because this issue is a classic Ultimate Spider-Man issue. And in that case, I mean, there isn't a lot of fighting and it's a lot of words. It's a very, how should I say? It's a very intense conversation between the Parkers and the Osborns, between Mary Jane and Peter, and Gwen and Harry, because MJ wants to know everything at this point. She wants the truth. She doesn't want to be the third wheel, essentially, in this situation. She doesn't want to be on the outskirts. She wants to know what everyone's end game is. All pun intended. Didn't say the word
Say
end game, but
Endgame.
we know this is going to an ultimate end game. What is everyone's end game? And Gwen Stacy, who I actually genuinely like in this universe, she's not like a likable person, but I like how forefronting she is. She's very blunt, very to the point. straight up saying this will not end. The entire issue kind of leads up to this. This whole thing with Peter, with me, and with Harry will not end, and your family will no longer be in risk, or that you'll be in risk until it ends, until the big bad, the Maker, Kingpin, whoever they're going for, is taken out. And people may die. And seemingly, at the very end of the issue, MJ says, okay, you don't have your little magical amulet on you, right? Yeah, no, okay. She punches Gwen Stacy in the face. Kind of gets her
Awesome.
shot in while she can. I feel like when Gwen wakes up, she won't be too mad about it. It seems like the type of Gwen that's like, yeah, she took her shot. That's fine.
Yeah, there's an understanding there, I think.
There's an understanding. We're all kind of on the same page after that. But MJ goes up to Peter, says, Peter, you're a good man. Harry, you should be a good man. But your wife is going to get someone killed or get us all killed. TJ, what'd you think about this issue? A very intense issue. Second issue, I feel like in this volume, maybe it could be almost a first in a way. How do you feel about this setup before we go into the final few issues of this run?
I liked the setup, and we've talked about this before. I do not like, snuff my nose at a slower paced issue. I think, it's important to have to have a kind of break sometimes to kind of regather. Like you said, setting up the end game, ultimate end game, which we haven't even really talked about. We got to talk about that more when we can find time. But I also feel like, what did we really learn here? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that in the sense of like I didn't like it. I liked the dynamic. I like MJ stepping up. I feel like this kind of was meant to show us she's stepping into being more active into this fight. Like, not just like, oh, he's doing this thing, I don't want to know about it. Like you said, she wants to know everything. So I like that. But again, I don't know. We only have 4 issues left. That's my thing, is like we are very close to the end of this, and I just felt like we didn't really
5
learn
issues.
anything new.
5 issues. I think 25 is the last one.
I thought it was 24.
Was it not 24? I thought it was 25.
It's 24.
Sorry.
Here, I actually have a tab up literally right now about it. Let me just click it. Yeah, it's Ultimate Spider-Man number 24, the final issue of Jonathan Hickman.
All right.
And Ultimate Endgame.
Okay, so 4 more issues. All right.
Yeah, so that's kind of my thing, is I feel like with only 4 issues left, I would have liked, even if it was just kind of a tease at the end, just to, again, give us a little bit more information of where this is going to end off leading into this huge event. But maybe I'm just asking for too much. So yeah, good issue. I like the dynamics, but kind of left me wishing we set it a little bit more up.
I brought up this question much earlier when we talk about this issue, when we talk about this run and everything in its entirety, especially just Ultimate Spider-Man, because I didn't bring up the Richard factor, how he's just kind of getting scolded a little bit by Ben. By scolded, he's just Richard's just kind of like talking himself into and out of his situation, where he's just like, hey man, I don't understand like why my parents are so upset about everything. I have the suit's supposed to protect me. I got put myself into a situation, so it protected me. Right? Like a very teenager way to look at it, while Ben is just kind of like, analyzing his thoughts, assessing his entire situation. Doesn't say too much. But Gwen did say, well, not Gwen, sorry, MJ did say someone will die. Gwen's going to get someone killed. Is that someone going to be one of these 3 we see on the cover right here? Or is it going to be Richard?
Yo, if it's Richard, that'd be crazy. I feel like, though, there's like a kind of like in movies, like they never actually kill the kid. You know what I mean? Like they're put in very grave danger. I guess there's few examples. I would imagine maybe he just like gets zapped to like 616, maybe like a Miles situation, but in reverse.
More Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? We have a billion of them, right? So I just hope they don't kill Uncle Ben, which I know is like a law in Spider-Man. Like Uncle Ben has to die, but just make this the one where he doesn't,
it doesn't feel like Uncle Ben is dying in this. That feels like that would be out of left field because
Yeah,
Ben is in like a little bit of hot water with the kingpin of it all, him and Jonah,
a
but
little
not.
bit.
Yeah, but like not so much as like hot water as like these three are, who are like front
I
line
mean, yeah, true.
superheroing, right? So I feel like Peter to me is the number one who would die. Maybe MJ number, not MJ, sorry, Gwen number two. And then I'd put Richard number three, and I don't think they'd kill Harry again. Again.
Why not, man? Why not?
Because for
I
those who
really
don't
hope.
know, Harry had his death faked earlier
Yeah,
on.
death. But I don't know. I would be. I personally, for me, I think I would be a little upset if Peter dies. I would understand the move. Like I could see the vision of like where they would go with that. But for me personally, I would not be a fan of that. I really like this version of Peter, and I think there's still a lot more to explore with him and this whole dynamic.
I did have the privilege and the honor of just quickly chatting with Jonathan Hickman at Terrificon here in Connecticut. I brought up how much I love these books. And all he said on it was, I said, I can't wait for, not I can't wait, but I'm looking forward to see how his story wraps up. And he responded with, he loves his final issue. He said he loves his final issue. So, not like he wouldn't, right? But breaking news, he likes his final
Yeah,
issue.
right. Oh, he writer likes the comic he wrote. I really quickly, I know I go on tangents, but I feel like it adds to what you're saying. So on this same thing I had pulled up, Hickman explains the ending and he says, "This was everything that I pitched. Nothing was deviated. It's been really nice to execute the plan well, and everything culminates into this issue. Fans of Ultimate Spider-Man or fans of the Ultimate Universe are going to love it. It's been a real pleasure, blah, blah, blah." So looks like his plan, like he's
He
got this
actually
plan
told the
going.
story he wanted to tell, looking
Yeah.
at you, Krakoa. Where that lasted a little longer than he wanted, and we all know how that ended. So there we go. We finally get to see a Hickman story really played out in full in a more recent time. Obviously, we saw it in Secret Wars, but here we go. We'll see it again in Endgame coming soon in a few months. Bouncing over to DC. This is Absolute Wonder Woman number, I think this is 11. This is written by Kelly Thompson, artist Hayden Sherman, colorist Jordi Belair, letter Rebecca Carey, and editors Ash Padilla, Andrew Marino, and Chris Conroy. Right now, Wonder Woman is off trying to find her fellow sisters from the Mascara. This Wonder Woman was not born in the Mascara. She was taken away and raised in hell by Cersei. This is an absolute Wonder Woman who had paradise taken away from her, but deep down inside, she is still an amazing person. Just caring so much to the point that even the goddesses in hell are baffled by this child. So she is out in Gateway City seeking out her sisters, falls into essentially a maze with Clea, finds Io, one of her Amazonian sisters, and is now currently trying to get them to escape the maze. This is a little bit of an action-packed issue, but an issue that where we see a lot of Io and a lot of Dianna just being so generous, so caring, and even when you take her out of paradise, she's still Diana. What I mean by that, and it's not just Diana too, it's like just a lot of the Amazons as well, where she noticed that Io, who's in this essentially pit prison within a maze, in the center of the maze is a giant pit where there's a prison, and all these monsters and individuals are stuck down there. And she even says, she's like, Io could have left at any point, but she chose not to because she wants to help everyone else. And that comforts Diana because she's like, what I've been dreaming of the Amazons to be in hell after she learns about them is what they are. So that it's a nice issue in that way. And then we are at the very end, we set up a big battle between Clea and Wonder Woman. So a nice little like tweener, not tweener, but like middle of an arc issue. This is actually, I think, 4 or 5 to set up the big fight. But I just love this Wonder Woman. I said this the definitive Wonder Woman. I think this takes a lot of the ideas of what Wonder Woman is. It's like that caring, the compassion, the overwhelming compassion for people. And you just see that full force in a way where, again, she grew up in hell. She had everything going against her to not be this person. And in the end, she still is this person, still is this individual. And I love, love, love that. And obviously, also, you get a little bit of the witchcraft as well, which is a great touch. So can't wait for you, TJ, to read this issue. It's very good. Maybe my favorite issue of the week, honestly.
I'm excited to read it, man. I just caught up on 10. Unfortunately, 11 escaped my grasp this week, but I thought 10 was. I really like this new arc we're in. I loved the first arc, but I'm really liking this. The whole, the Greek mythology of it all. Obviously, I'm a mythology nerd.
Oh, there's
And
a lot of
yeah,
Greek mythology because when you have a
yeah,
maze, you have a minotaur.
exactly. I love it. Absolutely love it. And I mean, this for me is my Wonder Woman. 100%. Like I've talked about it before. I obviously have. I mean, she's part of the Trinity. I know I've read Wonder Woman, but this one speaks to me, right? Like the other, like I've always loved Wonder Woman, but not my kind of go-to character. But this version I just love. I think it's so cool. I love the magic. I love the dark stuff. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Applause. Hats off to Kelly Thompson. It's just, I love it. I will say, which maybe it's in this issue, and I don't know about it yet. I want to see that magical bag again, man. Like, obviously, I love the big sword, but I want to see what else comes out of there. I'm excited to hopefully get that utilized a little bit more and see what other tricks she's got hidden in there.
She definitely uses her magic in this issue, and I know we will see it more in the final during the big fight because uh, she goes to magic a lot, which is very, very, very cool. And magic always has a price. I love that Kelly leans in on that. Um, whether it's Marvel or DC, that is a very important thing with magic, is it always has a price. And this one woman, as we know, has had her like arm removed several times, essentially as a magic sacrifice. Totally agree with Jedi Ganassi. Crazy, beautiful, lovely cover art here. It's Hayden Sherman cover art, but it reminds me of like classic peak Frank Miller cover.
It does. Very much so.
This may be your favorite book of the week. I'm gonna dig deep on this one. This is Absolute Martian Manhunter number 6. This is written by Dennis Camp, artist Javi Rodriguez, letter Hassan Usmani Alao, and editors Sabrina Fuchs and Andrea Shea. I don't even know how to summarize this book. There's so much that happens. This book is abstract. And it's a thinker. It is beautiful. We see the Martian go up against the White Martian, and the White Martian, what Dennis has kind of set up prior to this, is everyone's worst thoughts. It is just the worst of humanity. It brings out the worst in humanity, the racism. It brings that out in people. It brings out violence in people. It brings out hatred, disgust, everything. It just, whatever the worst it can do to that person, the White Martian will do. So there's amazing fight. It's an abstract, not real, quote unquote, fight between the White Martian and the Green Martian that I think is my favorite part about this issue, where the White Martian will take the fear of, it says like, a hippie or, I think it even says hippie, where it's like the fear of nuclear war, and will take that out of his head and start a nuclear war. But then the Green Martian will counter with that same individual's hope, and also into like counterintuitism, where it's like you could have nuclear war, but he also believes that the government is completely inept. So all the bombs the Green Martian make are duds, right? And it's back and forth. It's very, if like you want to MCUify it in a way, think about like a Doctor Strange fight. especially from Multiverse of Madness, where you have like the notes and you're competing the musical notes from Beethoven and everything. It's very well done. The last page is very comic book. Did you get your hand on a physical issue of this, TJ, or reading digitally?
Yeah, the sun thing,
Yes,
the
we have
light
the sun
thing,
thing
dude.
once
Yes.
again from the first issue. It teases something going on with John's kid.
I knew
But
it too, man. I
he's a
knew it.
weird little kid, but
Yeah.
everyone in that house is a little strange. So, what I did also enjoy about this is that it brings his wife back into it a bit more because she was a huge factor throughout this entire series, and she has a moment where all the stuff is going on and the worst of John is coming out, but the best of him also is if only I just talked to my wife while all this craziness and going chaos is going on. And they do talk, and that's what settles things within the house, which then settles throughout the entire world because, abstract Martian Manhunter thoughts and fights. TJ, I just attempted to summarize this issue, which was very abstract. Tell me what you thought about this. Is this your favorite issue of the week? And throughout the entire first 6 issues of Absolute Martian Manhunter, by the way, this was supposed to only be 6 issues. So that last little page was definitely added to be like, we'll continue the story here.
Mhm.
What'd you make about this?
Dude, I think this might be my favorite comic of my life, man. I just think this is so cool. Please, if anyone out there can point me to, because I'm sure that exists, but if anyone can point me to something that's similar to this, please do, because I think that this is just one of the most creative books I have ever read. It is just I think it's so clever. I think Denise Camp is so good at making something, like you said, just so abstract and like these kind of big concepts, but relating them to our human perspective and like in way, like, I mean, the Martian says it a bunch of times, like just concepts we can't even fathom, but in and like bring them into a way that we can understand. And I think it's just, again, so smart. It's so good. I think it's a really interesting perspective and look into just our relationships with each other, let alone with this, mind melting Martian. And I gotta shout out Javier Rodriguez too, because same thing with, along with Denise Camp's creative and just mind-blowing writing, is his art and the way he depicts these things. And like you were talking about, the fight between the Martians, and something I really loved is so the white Martian kind of takes over everyone's mind, more or less, or most people. And the way that he depicts that is he just puts like a blank space in on their head, like kind of playing with the comic book style of art. And instead of making their face, like, I don't know, blurred out or whatever, it's just like he forgot to draw that piece. And I just think that really adds to the like kind of meta-ness of this book. And I mean, I could just go on forever. I love it. I think it's amazing. I want a million issues of this. I am curious. I cannot see right now how Martian Manhunter will come into play with the other Absolute universe, but
Whatever, we'll find a way.
yeah, whatever. But I mean, it obviously very heavily, which I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. So if you don't want any kind of spoiler, maybe skip ahead. But very heavily revolves around Darkseid and where he is now and what is going on. So I feel like the kind of linchpin that will set off this whole Absolute whatever they're planning will be in Martian Manhunter.
We'll talk about it next week for sure. I did read this week's issue of Superman. Superman, in terms of the absolute all in, that whole thing is so incredibly important. What they're doing in Superman, Joshua Williamson, is so incredibly important with the tie into the Absolute, because that's the first time Absolute is already leaking into the main DC continuity. So I'll leave that there. We'll talk about that next week because AF will have read that issue. We'll have a further discussion on it. But they essentially made it so the White Martian is an agent of Darkseid.
Yeah.
which makes
and
sense.
and John Jones in this one, he's like dark side is dark side is dark side.
Dark
I
side
was like,
is.
oh man, we're getting there. And we had that. I think I screenshotted it because it was so good. Again, shout out Javier Rodriguez. But when John Jones sees like the huge dark side and like the freaking space, oh, that was so cool. I love this book, y'all. Y'all need to go read this, please. Please go read this book.
If you want more of Javi Rodriguez, my suggestion is to read Zatanna Bring Down the House, which came out
Yes,
last year. The hardcover
incredible.
for that is out now. It won an Eisner. It's also written by Mariko Tamaki. It won an Eisner. So it is very, very, very good. Quick to go back very quickly on Ultimate Spider-Man. Visca says, I'm late on Ultimate Spider-Man collecting the books now. Is this run new? Ultimate Spider-Man is new-ish. It's on 20 issues, but it's ending in 4 more. It's ending in 24. This is all part of Marvel's Ultimate line, which came out a couple years ago at this point. This is their alternate universe that was created by the maker. This is different from the original Ultimate Universe, which saw Miles and all that stuff. This is a universe that the maker created in his image, which is organized chaos, is the best way I can describe it. Meanwhile, here in the DC Absolute universe, it is absolute chaos. Chaotic evil versus organized evil is the way that I've been kind of separating the two ultimate and absolute universes. Let's quickly go back to Marvel, though, TJ. This is chaos in a monstrous horror way. This is Incredible Hulk, Big Scary Monster number 28. This is written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist Adam Gorham, colorist Matt Wilson, letterer Corey Pettit, and editors Caden McGahee, Jordan D. White.
Love it. Love it. I mean, again, every time we bring up Hulk, it's like I don't think there's anything PKJ could do for me not to like this book anymore. And I've talked about this before, but the thing I think makes it the strongest, all pun intended, book is the pacing of it. It's like every issue is this new kind of almost side adventure where we're introduced to some kind of new monster, something cool, but it also every issue furthers this plot. So the main kind of thing that's going on in this book is there is this cosmic, I don't even know if you'd call it cosmic, major entity called the Mother of Horrors, who created everything dark and bad that lives on the earth. Basically the counterpart of the one above all, who creates life. And she is after Hulk. She is after Hulk. She wants Hulk. Hulk is basically like the king of monsters, if you would. So everything is leading to her trying to capture Hulk, which is why we're introduced to all these monsters. And again, I just think it's so good and clever the way he does that, because it makes every issue interesting while also moving forward the plot. We're not really taking side roads. And again, this issue is really good. And the reason I think it's really good is in this one, PKJ flips the dynamic between Banner and Hulk. So Banner has been trapped inside of Hulk for some time now. But in this issue, we see it's basically an issue of Hulk just waking up in random places. Like how we used to see Banner, how he would turn into Hulk and then just wake up in some town and like not know what happened. That's what's happening to Hulk right now. And I think that's just a really interesting perspective to take on the whole dynamic between them. And we also get a cool monster fight. So, I mean, what else could you really want? Again, Incredible Hulk. It's incredible. Go pick it up. Cannot recommend enough. PKJ's killing it.
We have chatted with PKJ before about this book and other books he has done. I know if you like some body horror, this is where you're looking at. I know we are going into a brand new chapter, I'll say, of the Hulk, because it's the same writer, it's the same creative team. It's just a new name and a new number one. Makes reading comics very confusing in both of our opinions when we're trying to suggest how people to read it, when it's like, hey, read Scarlet Witch number one, but not that number one, the other number.
There's at least 4 or 5 number ones of Scarlet Witch at this point.
Oh, yep. So that's the challenging thing with all of it. But Hey, if you like some horror, you like some big scary monster, if you want Hulk being a monster, this is where you look. So there you go. Give me a rating. Give me a out of 5 rating.
5, easily
5
5,
out of 5.
easily. Jeff,
Okay.
I didn't know Jeff was making an appearance this week.
Jeff will always make an appearance on my show, TJ. I don't know what you're
I
talking
gotta
about.
tell you really quickly, I was organizing some books yesterday, and
Mm.
I went through I didn't go through it, just like stumbled upon my whole freaking Venom War section that haunts my dreams. And I was trying to put a book away, and guess what the first one I pulled out was? Jeff.
It's Jeff Venom War,
Yeah, Jeff. Literally
which is the best issue of that entire Venom War.
I was literally just trying to put something away, and I pulled that out, and I was like, Damon is haunting me. Damon and Jeff are freaking haunting me.
Yeah, there you go. Go read it. Go read it. It's a delight. This is also a delight. This is Jeff the Landshark, his very first 4-print original series, written by Kelly Thompson, artist Toki Takaro, colors Jim Campbell, letterer Joe Caramagna, and editors Emerald Bensadoun and Jordan D. White. This sees Jeff. This entire series is kind of a little bit like a joke to Marvel Rivals, where there's like an evil shadow Jeff going all around the world, wreaking havoc, and Jeff has to go chase him down, replenish his good name, get that evil Jeff out of here, and replace him with good Jeff. This issue sees Jeff just kind of teaming up with the X-Men. He goes in the X-Men books for a little bit. You see him meet up with Rogue and Gambit, which, of course, if you're a X-Men fan at all, you know Kelly Thompson did Mr. and Mrs. X. So it was a nice way to like see Kelly do those two characters for a little bit again. Jeff then goes all the way to Madripoor, which is where Wolverine and Psylocke come into play, because they're out looking out for Luna Snow, another Marvel Rivals favorite. She's putting on a concert, but the Hand is out to get her, and Jeff is kind of thrown in the mix of it. Jeff also, this whole thing kind of started because Jeff did some really silly things in Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, which allowed his shadow to come alive, and now he's chasing it. And in Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, he also just happened to take some magical rocks, as Jeff does. I don't know where he's keeping these things, if he has Jeff pockets or not. I don't know. Don't ask me. But he has a magical rock, and one of the magical rocks gives him the ability to take the abilities of those around him. He becomes Sync for a little bit. So what does that mean, TJ? We get to see Jeff with Wolverine claws.
Love it.
Amazing. Comic books. Yeah. And then we also get to see Jeff with psionic teeth, like Psylocke. Amazing.
Just give Jeff all the powers, honestly. Make him like Rogue, and he can just absorb anyone's powers.
So earlier on, Rogue does like a little tap on him just so she can like take a little bit of Jeff power, quote unquote, so she can talk to him for a little bit, and they're just kind of like having a little back and forth, and it's quite adorable.
Yo, any artist friends out there, any artists tuning into the show, someone make me a Jeff Thor, like holding a little Mjolnir.
Oh, that exists. No, that exists.
Does it exist? Okay.
Yes, that exists.
Okay, great.
I can send it to you.
Okay, good.
That's a thing.
Good. That makes me happy.
How sad is it? I know that exists, by the way.
I not.
It's a variant cover.
It's not surprising.
To you. So anyway, P Comics, 5 out of 5. Look, you can't take these books seriously. They're adorable. They're fun. Traditional Jeff books don't have a lot of words in it. This one, because it is more of a comic book, traditional comic book, there's a lot of words in there, and I think the only challenge is because Jeff doesn't speak, you kind of have to have other characters speak for him. So that is a challenge compared to traditional. It's Jeff comics where it's just no words at all. So if you can kind of get over that tiny little hump, you'll have a lot of fun with it. Again, I am more looking forward to the final issue, because they said the only way for this to solve this, TJ, is with magic. You know how you spell magic? Magik.
No. Yo, give Jeff that big ass sword. Hell yeah.
Give him a soul sword. That'll be great. Next issue, though, we are going to the Dino Land. Naturally.
Sick. I love it. I love Jeff, dude. I haven't even read a Jeff comic, and I love him.
It's great. 10 out of 10. This is a change.
Yo,
Oh God,
this
this
is this an anthology?
no.
I would say because this is issue 3. I can only imagine what
You
happened in the
read
first 2
one.
issues. Did I?
Yes, that was
Okay.
the one with the little kid. And remember the old lady at the table?
Was that a short
That was
story?
part of a short from Boom Studios from
Okay.
Hello Darkness.
I do remember that.
I gave you the other two. You probably just don't remember it because we read a lot of things. This is Be Not Afraid, number 3. This is written by Jude Ellison as Doyle. This is from artist Alessandro Esteran, colors Francesco Segala, letterer Simon Bolland, and editors Caroline Butler, Allison Gronowitz, and Elizabeth Bry. Long story short, a woman gave birth to the devil via an angel. And this kid is no longer a kid. He's like 17, 18, however old he is. He's like a late teenager, early young adult. Straight devil. Straight devil. There's a man who came up to her last issue and was like, I'm gonna help you deal with this. And by deal with this, it means we're gonna have to kill the devil child over here. And by devil child, I mean he will go around. Anything he touches dies. Anything he touches will go insane. Literal crazy demonic human. Game is a human. And in this issue, we learn a little bit more because the theme of this issue in particular is mold. TJ, when you find a piece of bread that has mold on it, do you just take off that one piece of mold or do you throw away the whole loaf?
You gotta toss the loaf, man.
Yes, because it's not just
loaf.
there. The whole loaf is molded. So it's not just this child or the people he's touched. The whole world has gone to literal hell because as we've been thinking, this is a folk horror book. And I'm like, oh yeah, this takes place, it feels like in like the, the old Western days. It straight up says that this is like in 2005. And it's like, oh yeah, something is not right here because the kid has created absolute havoc throughout the entire world. We see traditional versions of the angels with a lot of eyes, and it goes deep, deep dark. And I mentioned earlier how you have the woman with her mother, the woman who gave birth to the child. She had a horrible relationship with her mother early on in her childhood years. And the kid must have felt that connection that she hated the mother. So the kid killed the mother. But then she was upset that the kid killed the mother. So the kid brought back the mother, but now she's like a zombie lady and it's really gross and disgusting. So now her and this pioneer priest man have to go around performing an exorcist on the world. Best way I can describe it.
Super creepy, man. And
So creepy.
shout out to the writing in this book because I will be honest, I do not remember. I remember that short from the Hello Darkness, but I do not remember the first 2 issues, and I was not confused at all reading this. I didn't even realize it was a number 3 until right now seeing it on the screen. So to me that like shows how great of writing is in the book because I jumped in completely fine. But yeah, dude, super freaky, gross.
Going from
It's
Jeff to
cool.
this is crazy.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I like it. Especially we're approaching the scary season, so yeah, this one is really good. Definitely piqued my interest, and I definitely want to see what goes on with this freaky little devil kid, which I gotta say too, I think is really smart and makes me really interested in the character. Is like at least the way he's not like, I guess it doesn't seem like inherently like evil. Like this stuff just happens to him. Like he was just born like this.
He's
Everything
pretty. Nah,
dies.
he's evil. He's
I mean,
pretty
yeah,
evil
he does some messed up, but it's like
because he knows what he's doing.
yeah, but then he has that conversation with the mom about like, oh, like, well, you made me. I don't know. I think that was very. It makes him an interesting character and not just someone who's just like, oh, this is the evil kid and he's just the devil and we just have to kill him. I think it adds a little nuance to this whole situation, and when they have to kill him or try to, it's gonna be a lot deeper and bigger than just again like, oh, devil child. So I really like that about it too.
Yeah, I think the other factor here is because the mother of it all has a lot of guilt for bringing this child into the world, and he straight up says, "Well, I didn't like I'm part of you. You made me this way." So you have that type of connection there too, where you have that guilt from bringing this devil child into the world. Sticking with Boom Studios. I really like that issue, though. Really like that issue. It was a much needed issue after the first two because it brings that added context onto everything. This is Minor Arcana. Number 10. This is written by Jeff Lemire. Art from Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire back on art. Colors Patricio Del Peche. Letters Steve Wands. Editors Maya Bollinger, Matt Gagnon, and Eric Harburn. I really like this series. This is doing a little bit of Something is Killing the Children to me, where we feel like we're getting somewhere, right? And then the next issue, it's like, hold on, I need to give you more backstory. So we go back in time to between the 70s and the 80s, and we learn more about this figure that's been kind of following Teresa, who's our main character, throughout. And we go back and we learn about Bud St. Pierre and how he was in prison and his complicated relationship with his wife and his child. He goes into tarot and kind of learns about these powers about himself. I don't want to get into any story spoilers here, but I really still enjoy this series. I do think the frustrating thing, though, like I said, is every time I feel like we're getting somewhere, it's like, all right, we took a step forward. You just take a step back, right? But the series has brought out some of my favorite single issues of the year, going back a few issues ago, where Teresa's finally opening the shop. She's getting more comfortable with the shop, who hates tarot, hates being a quote unquote psychic, but she is a real psychic, and she's starting to do good around town. That's where I love about this series. Now, I think diving deeper into the lore is interesting. Um, I wish we kind of just had like one more issue, though, of continuing where we left off with Teresa. That's all I'll say. Speed Racer. Number 2 from Mad Cave. TJ, this is all you. This is written from David Pepos, artist Davide Tento, colorist Rex Locus, and letter Buddy Bedoin. Tell me about it.
We were talking about fun with Jeff, and I think David Pepose majored in fun, because this book is just fun. It's a hoot and holler. It's fun. I just really enjoy it. I'm not a like car guy or NASCAR or anything like that, but David makes the racing and the action in this book super exciting. We get our first like official big race, and the way he does it is like the commentators are like how you would be watching, like a race on TV. Like he like describes the action, but not in a way of like being obvious, like it makes it intense. It makes you feel like you're like actually going through it. And then David Tinto's art, obviously great, again, really makes you like it. They're static pages, you know what I mean? But you really feel like these cars are like moving, swerving around. Really, really cool. And we also get the added classic Pepose kind of emotional family element. It's a big theme in a lot of his work. With Speed Racer's dad, he's in the hospital, got beat up by some thugs, and so that's why he's entering this race, to get the money to pay for his hospital bills. We also get the introduction of the shady corporation, the rival kind of racing crew, and yeah, just really kind of sets us up for where we're going, kind of sets us up for the overall plot, and just fun, awesome action. Again, I said this last time, feels like you're watching an episode of Speed Racer, feels like you're tuning in to the newest episode every week, or every other week, every month, however long this issue's coming out. But yeah, really, really great. Again, if you're a fan of old cartoons, fan of Speed Racer, it's awesome.
I'm surprised this is a Mad Cave book. Usually Dynamite kind of has like those Sunday morning cartoon type books.
Yeah.
So good on Mad Cave for getting in on this IAP. Speed Racer is a fun one. We got a monkey friend in this, right? Speed Racer has a
yeah,
monkey
we
friend.
do. Which, speaking of Purpose, we need some more monkey. There was not enough monkey in this first or
Need more
second
monkey.
issue. So
Four
yeah, we
four
need.
out of 5 needs more monkey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Blip got an entire issue to himself, man. So come on, we need we need some more in Speed Racer. But yeah, absolutely great. Also, check out Space Ghost, another one of my favorites. We talk about every other week.
Right. Surprise, surprise. That is all our comics for the week. I had issues with my creative package, so I don't have a visual for next week's polls, but I will bring it up real quick because we are in the month of September. I have 5 books next week. I have Absolute Superman, Doctor Strange, number 450. Technically, legacy numbering still kind of exists in the world. Gwenpool number 5. That is the finale of that Gwenpool run. Magic number 9. That is the penultimate issue of that Magic run. And Ultimate X-Men number 19 wrap out my week next week. A very magical week. A very not me. Well, no, we have a very magical week. We'll definitely talk about Doctor Strange 450. That'll be a nice, chunky tribute book to Dr. Stephen Strange. But real quick, wanted to just mention we didn't talk about it this week. I just didn't have time to throw it into the rundown. Lilith number 5 finally came out this week. I have to quickly look. Issue 4 came out in May, and then the issue prior to that came out like in April and then December. So this publishing on this has been a little frustrating, but the final issue of Lilith came out this week. Very fun. Lilith TJ will be getting a second volume.
Nice.
So story goes on. Story goes on. Very fun book. What do you have next week, TJ? We'll also very quickly, but like I mentioned earlier, we will talk about Superman because that is very, very, very important.
The regular or
regular
Absolute?
Superman?
Okay. Well, I have Absolute on my list. I have a couple books that I am so far behind on. I want to mention, though, Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu. If anyone's reading that, let me know, because Moon Knight, Jed McKay's Moon Knight was like my favorite book for a very long time. And I didn't stop reading it because I don't like it. Just there's too much to read. So I'm excited to get back into that one eventually. I got Ultimate X-Men like you do, and another Popo's classic. We are just eating with David Popo's content, and I love it. But Captain Planet and the Planeteers number 4, baby.
Oh, yeah.
At least I hope this is right, because I remember like last week or so the dates were a little mixed up on here. But if so, I cannot wait. Love Captain Planet.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beneath the Trees also came out. The second issue came out this week. That is a bit of a cult classic. And the second issue, it does a thing where it's like it explains how we get to a point in the first issue, like goes back in time to catch us forward type of thing. It just did one of those. So I was like, I didn't need a whole segment to talk about that. But still very cool that that book is back. That'll do it for this issue of the Comic Corner. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Hibiscus. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, TJ. And yes, shout out you, TJ, for letting Brandon know that the Captain Planet comic.
Join the Planeteers, Brandon. Come on, join me and Damon. You can choose your own power. We haven't even chose ours yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'll do it for this issue of the Comic Corner. As always, go support your local comic shop. Go to comicshoplocator.com to find nearest comic shop near you. It is the heart. It is the heartbeat, the blood, everything of the industry. Go find your community. Comic shops are where the cool people go. We'll see you next week, 10 a.m. Eastern. As always, take care, everyone.